Craziest things sold at auctions. Thanks for sharing your strangest phobia in the comment section on the video. You never said you'd get scared if we showed your comment, McAvitt, your way, only if we replied to it. Tell us the strangest thing you ever bought, and maybe we'll feature it in an upcoming video. Number 15. Superman comic book. Do you have some old comic books laying around in your attic? They could be worth some big bucks. If you have this comic book somewhere, you could be a millionaire. This is the first Superman comic book ever made. That's some fast money. It actually took 48 bids, starting at only 99 cents, and the final bid was $3.2 million. That's a big jump from the original price, only sold for 10 cents in 1938. This one was auctioned on eBay and was reportedly in mint condition. Some people take their comic books pretty seriously. Titanic violin. A violin that was played while the Titanic sunk sold for $1.7 million at a UK-based auction house in 2013. This thing is a piece of history and should be held at a museum. According to survivors, violins were played while the ship was sinking in an attempt to keep the passengers a little more calm. If you've seen the film Titanic, you might remember this scene. The violin was pulled from the crashed ship off the back of the drowned violinist. It was kept in decent shape since it was still in the violin case. The violin was found in someone's attic in the UK and authenticated carefully with testing of seawater deposits. Number 13. Elephant bird egg. How much do you think a fossilized egg of an extinct creature might go for? This egg was laid on the island of Madagascar and belongs to an extinct elephant bird that was wiped out several hundred years ago due to human activity. You can make some serious scrambled eggs with this thing, or not. They resembled an ostrich and couldn't fly. Mythical tales tell that it was big enough to grab an elephant with its claws, growing 11 feet tall. The fossilized egg sold for $101,000 to a bidder in the UK. Number 12. Monica Lewinsky's lingerie. Some lingerie can get pretty expensive as it is, but if it was involved with a presidential affair, it could be considered a piece of history and sold for a large amount of dough. As part of a 33-piece collection from the scandal that was used as evidence of the affair, it sold for about $12,000. Monica sold it herself and said she expected to get more like $50,000 for the collection. The black nightgown was among some of the items, but also included letters exchanged between the two. But the infamously stained blue dress was not sold. Number 11. Hitler's last uniform. The last known uniform belonging to Hitler sold to a private collector in Argentina who seemed to have a fascination with this memorabilia. However, this auction caused a lot of uproar by the Jewish community, saying that it was scandalous and disgusting, calling the event to be banned. Germans are prohibited in displaying any Nazi-related objects in museums, but there's no rule against selling them. It sold for a total of $280,000 at an auction house in Munich. The Argentinian collector even bought himself a pair of underwear from Gehrig for about $2,500. Number 10. Lee Harvey Oswald's wedding ring. Possibly one of the most shocking moments of American history was the JFK assassination. Just a few months before the 50th anniversary of the event, an auction took place of one of Lee Harvey Oswald's last remaining possessions. The wedding band included a 5-page handwritten letter by Oswald that explained the ring's history. The Secret Service confiscated the ring and was lost in their archives until 2006. The ring sold for $118,000 to an anonymous buyer in Texas. Number 9. 65-year-old slice of cake. Everyone knows cake is good and all, but can you imagine how it tastes after 65 years? But this isn't any ordinary cake. This was a piece of fruitcake that was served at the 1947 royal wedding of Queen Elizabeth II and Duke Edinburgh. It came enclosed in its original box. The majestic cake stood 9 feet tall and was made using Australian and South African ingredients. Just a small piece sold for $925. For that much money, you gotta be wondering if they took a bite anyways. Number 8. George Zimmerman's gun. Many were downright outraged when George Zimmerman was found to be innocent by a technicality of Florida's Stand Your Ground law. This event helped spark a civil rights movement, so the thought of Zimmerman trying to sell the weapon he used to take Trayvon Martin's life stirred up quite a bit of drama. The Kel-Tec 9mm handgun was put on auction online on gunbroker.com. The site originally denied the request, but the gun still received many offers. On May 24, 2016, the gun had successfully sold for $250,000. Number 7. Flowing hair dollar. The most expensive coin ever sold at an auction was the flowing hair dollar. This was the first coin issued by the United States federal government in 1794 and 1795. The weight and size was based on the Spanish dollar that was commonly used for trade throughout North America and South America. Presently, it's considered to be the rarest and most valuable of all American coins, with there possibly being only 120 to 130 left in the world. A finely preserved flowing hair coin sold for over $10 million. Number 6. Honus Wagner Baseball Card. Baseball cards are among a few things collectors strive to get their hands on the most, no matter the price. The Honus Wagner is one of the most famous and most expensive baseball cards in existence. Baseball cards were found in cigarette packs at this time. Wagner refused to allow his production of this card because he didn't want people to smoke. Once production ended, there were only 50 to 200 ever distributed to the public. In 2011, a Honus Wagner card sold at an auction for $2.8 million. The buyer was originally anonymous, but it was later revealed to be Ken Kendrick, who played for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Number 5. The Fukang Meteorite. This huge meteorite slammed into Earth and everyone seemed to want a piece of it, literally. It's estimated to be about 4.5 billion years old and is made up of half iron nickel and half olivine. This mineral gives the rare meteorite its golden shine. Seems almost like some type of divine holy relic that predicts the future or something. The largest portion of the rock was put on auction for $2 million, but it didn't sell for this high of a price. The Chinese space rock was later broken up and auctioned all over eBay. Currently, for a 295-gram piece, it's at a current bid of $4,599, but many more pieces are on auction. Number 4. Rare Dodo Skeleton. This auction could be another chance to get your hands on the remains of an extinct animal. A private collector has recently decided to sell his most complete skeleton of a dodo. The dodo once flourished on the island of Mauritius in the 1500s until humans decided to settle this land. It had no known predators and was extremely trusting of everyone it came into contact with. No word on whether it's been sold yet, but it's expecting to bring in a price of about 500,000 British pounds. Here in this photo, you see an employee preparing the skeleton for auction at Summers Place Auction House in Billinghurst, West Sussex. Number 3. Elvis's underwear and memorabilia. Some people are quite crazy about celebrities, and possibly one of the biggest American icons would be the king of rock and roll. But maybe there are some things that belongs to celebrities that we really don't need to get our hands on. A pair of Elvis's soiled underwear had originally failed to sell at the first auction, which might have led you to believe that maybe people had some dignity. But later on, they tried again and succeeded in selling at the auction, bringing in $8,000 in 2012. But his Bible managed to bring in much more, selling at $94,000. Number 2. John Lennon's tooth. Beatle memorabilia is some of the most sought after as well, but it gets a little weird with this one. The musician had a molar extracted during his later years. Lennon handed the tooth over to his housekeeper sometime in the 1960s and suggested her to keep it as a souvenir. The Omega Auctions House in the UK expected it to sell for $16,000, but it exceeded expectations at nearly twice that, selling at $31,000. Maybe someone will keep it and decide to clone him? And number 1, the balloon dog. It might just look like an ordinary orange balloon dog to you, but many see it as a masterpiece. This creation by Jeff Koons managed to sell for an astonishing $58 million in 2013. Who has money for that kind of thing? We won't know because the person who bought it was an unknown telephone buyer, but that's some serious cash for some modern art. Any suggestions on future videos? Leave us your idea in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature it in an upcoming video.